If I can ask a question about COVID, we've seen a rise in cases once again. Democrats kind of have this stalled request for funding from the White House for more therapeutics and more vaccines. Do you believe, given this spike that we've seen this summer and the possibility of more cases come the fall, that the federal government, Congress, has any role to play in curbing that or providing more funding for vaccines?
Well, if you look, there's tens of billions of dollars in funding for COVID that's still unspent. And this administration, if you just look at Joe Biden's FDA, it took them over a year to get ahead of the FDA. It was referred to as a rudderless ship during that period. So they could have been and should have been producing more therapeutics, more vaccines. And Joe Biden, day one, should have had somebody ready to go at the FDA, and he didn't. And by the way, that was one of the problems that created this baby formula shortage coming out of his failed rudderless ship of an FDA. And so the money is there. They just haven't done a good job of being stewards of the people's tax dollars.
So you don't think anything new needs to be done?
Well, there's tens of billions of dollars sitting unspent. The problem is you have incompetent people working under the Biden administration that won't fix these problems. You know, who is he holding accountable? He has his top military advisors who said that Afghanistan was not going to fall to the Taliban. 48 hours later, it fell. He had his top advisors saying that Russia was going to take over Kyiv within days. They still haven't, because Ukraine has been so strong at pushing them out. When he went to France and had to be told in France that Saudi doesn't have enough energy to meet our needs, he should have fired all of his energy advisors, from his Secretary of Energy to his Secretary of Interior, that day. But he won't hold anybody accountable for his failings. He just tries to blame other people, and people are fed up with it.
Victoria Sparks has been criticizing the Ukrainian government so strongly that she prompted a response from Ukraine's foreign ministry. Are you concerned about her comments and allegations? And are you feeling like this is undermining congressional support for Ukraine?
Well, Victoria has been a strong advocate of getting the people of Ukraine the tools they need to push back against Putin. I know she's gone in herself a number of times into Ukraine just over the last few months. Obviously, she's the only member of Congress who was born in Ukraine. She's very passionate about this. And at the end of the day, I know from all the conversations I've had with her that her heart and soul is tied to helping the people of Ukraine push back Putin's military assault on that country.
It seems like the China competitiveness bill, or the conference China bill, seems to be kind of in flux right now between the House and Senate. What do you think needs to happen? It seems like Pelosi doesn't want to bring forward just the Senate bill.
Right. You know, Speaker Pelosi and Leader Hoyer just made that announcement today. But in the end, this bill is being negotiated mostly in the Senate. We have a number of negotiators on our side that are trying to fix some of the many problems. But Leader McConnell has also made it clear that trying to move forward with a $1 trillion plus tax and spend bill at the same time makes this a non-starter. And ultimately, especially when you look at 9.1% inflation, again, a 40-year high on inflation numbers, why in God's name would the Senate be trying to negotiate another $1 trillion in taxes and spending that would cripple the economy even more, that would raise prices on families even higher? So I hope they give that up, get back to working on something that could be bipartisan. I liked your exuberance for raising your hand.
I have a question on immigration. So yesterday, President Biden met with the Mexican president. Mexican president had a lot of ideas. One of those was to increase the number of visas to help with the labor shortage here in the United States. Is that something Republicans in Congress might get behind?
You know, one thing we've said is the first thing you have to do is secure the border. There's been a lot of attempts over decades to try to deal with interior border problems, interior immigration problems. You can't really start that conversation until you've first secured America's border. And Joe Biden walked into office with a secure border. We had that agreement with Mexico. Remain in Mexico was a heavily negotiated agreement between President Trump and the president of Mexico, and Joe Biden jettisoned it day one. He also jettisoned the Northern Triangle agreements. He stopped building the wall, which was being effective at keeping people out that are trying to get here illegally so we can get back to a legally working system. And let's keep in mind this. America has the most generous immigration laws in the world. We let over 1 million people into our country legally every year. The number 2 nation in the world is not even close to us. Yet right now, you've got millions of people that have come across illegally. So many people that came to this country legally, that followed the rules to live the American dream, are offended by the idea that millions of people just come across illegally, enriching, by the way, the drug cartels, the coyotes. Billions of dollars of money is going to these drug cartels because Joe Biden created this open border by abandoning the things that were working. So I hope he gets back to what will work. Again, we will be rolling out an agenda later in the summer to show the country how we'll address all of these problems and what we would do if we won a House Republican majority next year. Thank y'all.